What's going on, beautiful ladies and gentlemen? My name is Tim Johnson. Welcome to the Tim Johnson Podcast. This is the first ever episode of the Tim Johnson Podcast. I am your host, Tim Johnson. I already said that. I think I did. I can't remember if I said it or not. I was recording. I had already did this spiel like 6 different times, and then I hit record, or I thought I hit record, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I wasn't recording, and I had gotten into about 10 minutes of the podcast episode. But this is the first podcast episode. This podcast is an entertainment podcast. It's for entertainment purposes only. On this podcast, we'll talk about things from television to film to sports to music, politics, sometimes, maybe. I don't know. It's just wherever the wind takes me. A little bit about me. I am a over-the-road expediter. Me and my girlfriend, Anita, we drive a Sprinter van over the road. This year, we did 60,000 miles. So this podcast and the entirety is really devoted and it's a shout out to the expediters and the truckers and the van lifers and those guys who spend countless of hours in their car, in their van, over the road, driving, doing that expedite or over the road long haul mile driving. This is for you guys. This podcast is a simple, just entertainment style podcast. So I thank you guys for joining. Let's go ahead and get right into today's show. All right. First topic of today is Jonathan Majors. He was found guilty of 3rd-degree misdemeanor assault and aggravated assault in the 2nd degree. We're going to talk. The reason I wanted to bring this up was because, one, Disney dropped him from the Marvel thing that they had him with. They dropped him in a hot second once these charges came out. But what I want to do really is read off what these charges were. 3rd-degree misdemeanor assault in New York is classified as the reckless infliction of fear of serious bodily injury or recklessly causing a fear of injury through the use of a deadly weapon. The second thing he was charged with was aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree, and that is individuals who engage in certain actions that are intended to annoy, threaten, or cause another person to fear for their safety. So these 2 charges, I want everybody to understand that within these 2 charges, Jonathan Majors was not even prosecuted for causing injury. He was not charged or found guilty of hitting this person who he was charged with, his girlfriend, the person who he wanted to be Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama. That's who he was looking for, somebody like that. He wasn't charged with hitting that person at all. He was charged with basically being aggressive, being an aggressive man, and that's kind of the old thing that they do to our black men is they call us aggressive, they call us super thugs, and they paint us in that picture all the time. Now, the reason I brought this up was because if I was Jonathan Majors, I probably would have never, ever, ever let this case go to trial. And the reason why I would have never went to trial was because I understand how trials work a little bit, but I also know from experience, not just being on trial, but just going to court, you listen to what attorneys tell you, and attorneys will always tell you whatever happens, in most cases, do not go to trial. I don't know where Jonathan Majors attorneys or guys in his firm and his clique or who he was running with told him, or why they would advise him to go to trial with this. But why would you go to trial, Jonathan? Why would you go to trial and risk everything? And you did risk everything, because from what I'm hearing from the pop culture critics who analyze this world of pop culture, they saying you're done. They saying you have nothing. They saying that you will never make another Hollywood type film in this industry. And that's sad, because you could have went to your bank, you could have went to the closest bank, got a cashier's check for 2.1 million or 3.5 or some little number, and drew up a nice little NDA, told that little bunny that you was dealing with, hey, take this 3.5, sign this NDA, never speak about this matter again, get out of my life, I'm gone. Settle it out of court, because a lot of people don't realize, and Jonathan probably didn't realize this either, when you go to court, your image is on trial. Who you are as a person is on trial. Not just whether or not you attacked or caused physical harm to the person that you are accused of causing physical harm to. And the charges that that his jury found him guilty of, neither one of those charges are charges of inflicting bodily harm. They are charges of the fear of inflicting bodily harm. So if I can guess, I'm pretty sure some people, I mean, it wasn't pretty sure, people came up, what do they call them? Character witnesses came up, got on the stand. The prosecution probably asked these character witnesses, hey, have you ever seen Jonathan Majors be aggressive while you've been around him? Have you ever noticed him, or have you ever felt in fear of Jonathan Majors at all while you were in his presence? And I'm pretty sure those people were like, yeah, because it came out, right? It came out in news. It came out that Jonathan Majors can be a difficult person to work with on set. He can be an asshole sometimes. And that's, to me, that's bullshit. I call bullshit on that, because what actor isn't difficult to work with at times? You're under pressure. You're trying to shoot a film. You got people in your ear telling you to do one thing and you're trying to do another. It's hard. It can be a lot of pressure to shoot a major film. I wouldn't know anything about it, but I did take theater in college. Does that not count, right? I mean, I had to put together a whole play in college, and that was difficult. It was difficult sometimes. And sometimes when we were together as a group of people working on this play, emotions got high sometimes. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that I was the person that got upset, but, people got upset. Lines weren't not read the right way. The lighting of the stage may not have been done the right way. The coffee may not have been hot. Whatever it was for Jonathan to go off, he went off. And that's okay. I mean, he didn't touch anybody. But again, these charges are not about whether he hurt someone. They were about whether or not the white woman who said that she was fearful of him hurting her actually had a right to be afraid. And in this case, he was found guilty. And it sucks. It hurts, because he shouldn't have been found guilty in this case. He shouldn't have been found guilty. I mean, no, it's hard. It's really hard. It maybe under different circumstances, I would say I'm gonna just leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there. Now, the other part, the reason why I wanted to touch on this is because a lot of people are saying that Jonathan Majors is washed. He's done. He's never gonna work in Hollywood again. And I say to that, maybe he won't work on big sets again. But I don't think Jonathan Majors needs Hollywood the way that people believe that he needs Hollywood. He's had a great run, a run that some people would dream of having in Hollywood, right? How many movies did he do in the last 5 years that I watch? I mean, I can name a few of them, right? The Harder They Fall. What? That was amazing. Loki 2, Loki 1, the television show on Disney, amazing, right? What was the movie he did where he was a pilot, right? That was amazing. Anything that Jonathan Majors touched was amazing. And if I'm Jonathan Majors, I would just go the indie route, right? I would go the indie route. There are tons of creatives who are outside right now, who have amazing scripts, who understand how to light a set, who can, get you in the right position. I would go the Brandon, what was the guy that did The Whale? Brandon Fraser, I think his name is. He did The Whale, right? Everybody loves that he did The Whale. A fat guy, portrayed a fat guy who couldn't lose weight, or you just wouldn't lose weight. And now Brandon Fraser is all of a sudden back in the spotlight. If I'm Jonathan Majors, I would take the Brandon Fraser blueprint and I would run with it. And I would find as many indie films as I could find, and I would make as many of them as I could make. And I would wait for all of this to go away, because it's eventually going to go away. That's how we work in society. We don't hold people to the flames longer than 30 seconds. So it's hot right now, but if he does a couple of films, a couple indie films, finds his niche again, and then comes back around, I'm pretty sure he'll hit it again. He'll hit it out the park again. But to say that, he needs Hollywood. I mean, hell, if that's what he wanted, that's what he wanted. But I don't think he needs Hollywood to be a earner of his craft again. Now, will he ever get them big checks like he was getting? I don't know. I hope he put some money away. I hope he saved for a rainy day when, the white women would come charging with these allegations because they came for him. I hope he put some money away. But at the end of the day, I don't think he needs the platforms that everybody is so concerned that he lost, the Disneys and the motion picture, the MGMs and the Amazons of the world. He has a name for himself. He's built a brand. He can eat off of that for the rest of his life. He will never have to worry again. And I think a lot of the times we as consumers of entertainment, when we are not in that space of, $1 million budgets and $1 million and $100 million opening weekends, we look at it and go, damn, you lost that? How are you ever going to eat again? How are you ever going to survive again? Which is not, it's false, right? How many times have you been laid off? How many times have you had to quit a job? How many times have you been fired from a job and went right back somewhere else to some other company and found the job that you wanted, right? Or found something better? Just because Jonathan Majors lost a good, paying salary position at a good company doesn't mean that he doesn't have a resume that can support him going and finding his niche somewhere else in a smaller market. He can still make it out here. So I think he'll be okay. I think he should have never went to court, but I think he'll be okay. We're going to move right along. Move right along. All right. What else we got? Mariah Carey. All right, we're going to talk about her. This is a topic that I really want to talk about. Mariah Carey broke up with her boyfriend. I don't know if they were married or not, but Brian Tanaka. They were together for 6 years. The key reason for them breaking up was because she did not want to have kids, but he did. There was a 14-year age gap. She was 54. He was 40. He didn't have any kids. She had 2 with Nick Cannon, and she was done. She said, the factory's closed. I'm not pushing out no more kids. I don't want no more infants. I've done my duty. I'm not having any more kids. And that was a deal breaker for him. I feel bad for Brian because when he started dating her 6 years ago, he was in his early 30s, prime of his life. And he's still in the prime of his life. He's only 40. He's midlife. He's teetering on, the downhill slope. It's that cruising altitude. He's hit it, and he's right here at the apex of life, and he's about to hit that roller coaster, the down. And it's about to be all downhill from here, right? 40s, from 40 on, you don't know how many years you got. You could be out of here in 15. You could hit 65 and be gone, right? You could hit a multitude of areas in your life and be gone. Anything could happen when after 40. So I feel bad for the guy because he wanted kids. I think he wanted kids the whole time that he was with her, and probably kept trying to get her to reason with him. And she was just like, nah, I'm not having kids. I don't want any more kids. And so the reason I brought that up is because I think it's important at the beginning of relationships to ask those questions, to ask that specific question anyway. Do you want kids? Along with, how often do you need sex? Because that's an important question, right? How often, what is your sex drive? Because if we can't match on that, then we got a problem. Right? How are you a good cook? I need that question answered, right? For me, I'm a good cook, so I'm not gonna go hungry, right? But if I wasn't a good cook and my partner couldn't cook, then we got to figure something out, right? How we gonna eat in this relationship? Because I don't want fast food every single day. I don't want a box meal every single day. Some days I want to come home to a pot roast, some potatoes and carrots, some cornbread. I don't want to go out to the restaurant every day. One of us got to know how to cook, right? Who's responsible for how the bills are paid? That's another one. Like, are we going 50-50? We going 60-40? How we gonna do this thing? Am I supposed to take care of all the bills? But the big question that I feel like he should have asked, or he should have probably asked before the whole thing got started was, do you want kids? Do you want any more kids? Because I feel bad for the guy. He spent 6 years as Mariah Carey's person, boyfriend, whoever. And he's 40 now. And most of the women that he's gonna meet at this stage of his life are probably already gonna have kids, or they don't have kids. And now he's got to go do this whole thing again of trying to build comfortability with someone, trying to have a relationship with someone to have kids with, because this man wants kids. And it's not fair to him that he had to, waste his time. He should have asked those questions up front. But I really think, like, I wonder in their relationship, like, did they explore all options, right? Because I'm pretty sure she could have, we could have used a surrogate. Maybe that would have been an option to keep the relationship good. I wanted he asked that. Hey, can we do a surrogate? Can somebody come in, and carry this baby for 9 months, and we still call it our own? Because at the end of the day, I'm not leaving Mariah. Mariah is 54 years old. Did y'all know that? 54? I'm not saying that's old. I'm not age shaming here. I just remember back in the day in 1994 when Mariah was the fantasy queen, right? I remember those times. Man, I remember it. I can hit them notes. Don't worry about it. It's my show. I hit them notes if I want to. Don't come in my DMs talking about some don't ever sing again. I'll block you. I'll block you quick. Anyway, she's 54, he's 40, they broke up. He should have asked those questions at the beginning. He shouldn't have wasted 6 years of his life. I wouldn't say, well, I'm going to walk that back because, maybe he didn't waste 6 years because, hey, hell, to be with Mariah Carey for 6 years, to be Miss Carey, to be on the arm of Miss Carey for 6 years, that's a nice lifestyle. That's a lifestyle you couldn't, most men would never dream to obtain, So 6 years is a good-ass run. I salute you. I salute you, my boy. You bagged one of the baddest in the game. Right? You was in there. I hope you parlayed them relationships. I hope you had something waiting in the side just in case this didn't pan out how you wanted it to, because to be 40 years old with no kids and desire kids, what you're going to have to put up with at this point is women, like I said, women who are if they're in your age group, they're probably just like Mariah. They don't want kids at this point, or they already have kids and they're good with what they got. So now you gotta move yourself back to dating these little 25, 26, 27-year-olds who don't have kids. And the age gap is going to be a problem there because you 40, they're 27. You come from a completely different generation. You're millennial and they're Gen Z. And we know Gen Z is crazy as hell. I don't mesh with Gen Z. I can't stand Gen Z. They get on my freaking nerves. One of the things I don't like about Gen Z is the way they go out to clubs. I'm a millennial. When we go out to the club, we fresh, right? I put on my garments. I'm stepping out. My shoes is clean. The laces on. I have laces on my shoes, right? My slacks is pressed. I got on slacks when I hit the club. I got on a button up when I hit the club. I might have on a nice little timepiece when I hit the club. My hair is cut. My beard is trimmed when I hit the club. I'm looking the best that I can look. I am peacocking the fuck out of my situation when I go to the club. But these Gen Zers, the way they show up to the club pisses me off. They come out the house in shorts, oversized tee. They be out here with the Billie Eilish look, right? It drives me insane because it's like, bro, we crawled so y'all could walk, and y'all are just out here looking hella basic when it comes to the club, right? You look like you just left your midterm. Tighten up. Anywho, moving right along. Moving right along. Y'all remember Amanda Bynes? Y'all remember her? If you were millennial, I'm pretty sure you remember her. Back in the day, she had the Amanda Bynes show on Nickelodeon. It was kind of like a variety. I don't know how to say that word, but this is my show. I say how I want to say it. Verity, whatever. She had a Verity. She had that. she had a sketch show that was kind of like in the grains of SNL, right? And she was real big back in the day, but I guess fame kind of took its toll on her, and she had a couple of issues, and it's been well documented with her going in and out of psych wards, dealing with her life post the fame of it being a childhood star. I would love for her to sit down with me or some other podcaster or someone and interview her life, because man, she went through a lot. She went through a lot. It was like every 6 months for a moment there, something was coming up in the news about Amanda Bynes, whether she was getting arrested for slapping somebody at Taco Bell or just something crazy, just crazy shit. I don't know if she ever got arrested for slapping somebody at Taco Bell. I'm not gonna put that on her. I'm gonna walk that back. But I know she was just doing crazy stuff, getting arrested and sending to psych wards. Anyway, she did a podcast, right? Just like me, she did a podcast. And she put out a statement after her podcast, right? And she said, the first episode of my podcast did really well. I was actually surprised, and of course, was going to keep going after friends encouraged me to. But after thinking about it, I would rather get my manicurist license and have a consistent job. I'm going to follow that path instead. Thank you for following my journey. Hey, I really shared that because, if you are, if you live close to Amanda, or if you ever in California and you want to get your nails done soon, hey, she gonna be the person you might want to hit up, because she gonna be, doing nails down there. It's dope. I respect that hustle. I respect that flip. I respect the fact that she is a childhood celebrity and was like, look, these bills got to be paid. I like cutting nails and filing down nails. I'm going to go do this. But I brought that up because it's like the part about I would rather get my manicurist license and have a consistent job. That's the part that stood out to me, because it tells me that a lot of people think that you can't be a creative and also hold down a steady job and hold down a steady income. And it bothers me because as a creative, I've been a creative pretty much since the 2007, when YouTube first came around, right? I was making videos on YouTube in 2007. Before that, I was probably doing something with whatever, making music. I wrote rhymes for a little bit of time. In 2007, I started making videos, and then 2013, I started doing photography, and it's been every iteration of my creativity has flowed into the next one, and here we are on a podcast. And I didn't realize that so many people had this struggle with thinking that they can't be a creative and also have a full-time job, because I was actually one of those people. I wanted to be a creative so bad that at one point in my adulthood, I left my full-time job. I grabbed my camera and I said, I'm going to make a living off of my photography, and I'm going to be the best photographer I can be, and I'm going to make a concerted effort to live off of my camera. And boy, did that turn out wrong, right? It just didn't happen for me the way I needed it to. And I'm okay with that, because it led me to finding, being an expediter and being out on the road. And I enjoy that now. And that's one of the best things for me. I get to go anywhere at any given time of the day. I can be in California today, and 2 days time I could be in Texas, and in 5 days I could be in New York. The next day I could be in Boston. The next day I could be in Michigan. I love it. I love being an expediter. I love being someone over the road, but I still hold on to my creativity, which is why I'm doing this podcast. So it bothers me when someone like Amanda Bynes, who was a child celebrity, who held down that creativity for a long time, feels like she can't be a creative and also have a full-time job. Now, maybe doing nails is something that's creative for her. I mean, doing nails is a creative thing, right? I see a lot of y'all ladies out there with these beautiful colored nails and different types of things that you put in them. That can be creative. It can. But to walk away from her podcast just because she wants to get her manicurist license, man, I'd say if I could talk to her, I would say go back to that podcast. Cover your time while you get your manicurist license. Tell people about the journey. Tell people how hard it might be to get your manicurist license and also hold down a podcast. or whatever. I really think that sometimes we as people want to be creative, but the grind of corporate world and 40-hour week jobs holds us down. And then I will never be a person who looks at my life and says I can't be a creative because I got a job. I'll always put something out into the ethos of creativity. I have to. It's who I am as a person. I love being a creative. I love being in front of the camera. I love operating the camera. I love making videos. I love all that stuff. And man, it sucks because I actually listened to her first episode of her podcast, and you guys should go listen to it as well. It's a really good podcast. It's a really good podcast, and I'm lying. I didn't listen to her podcast. And y'all, you know damn well I didn't listen to her podcast. I'm lying. I'm over here capping like hell. I did not listen to her podcast once. But I might go listen to it now. I wish you would continue to do it because as a creative, I feel like you have to have creative outlets. And people who feel like they are not a creative, people who feel like they can't be a creative, people who feel like, maybe I want to write that book, or maybe I want to, write that poem, but I got to go to work. Find time to be creative. It is one of the best outlets that you can have in this life. It is, for me, it really keeps me at peace. Letting myself do things for me, just doing something for me. So but at the end of the day, hey, salute to Amanda Bynes going out there and getting her manicurist license. Like I said, if you're ever in California and you want to get your nails done, hit her up. I'm pretty sure her shop gonna be metro booming, because why wouldn't it be? It's Amanda Bynes and she out here doing toes. Hey, I sign me up. All right. We gonna keep it moving. This section, this entertainment section, is other than Jonathan Majors, which I mean the issue with Jonathan Majors is still within the grain of womanality. This is a really feminine energy segment, and I love it. I'm here for it. We're gonna go right into Taraji P. Henson. She was in the news earlier this week. Of course, she did the movie The Color Purple, which I'm probably gonna go see at some point. She was in the news. She says that most actors' pay doesn't make it to their account. She did a segment for, let's see, I'm going to read a little bit from the interview. She says, "I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost." She said when asked if she planned to quit acting during a recent interview with Gayle King on SiriusXM Radio, "I'm tired of hearing my sisters saying the same thing over and over. I hear people go, I work a lot. I have to," she continued, "but the math ain't mathing. And when you start working a lot, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone." Henson broke down her salaries and how they get divided before they go into her bank account. When you hear someone go, such and such made $10 million, that didn't make it into their account. Henson continued, "Off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%. Yep, that's about right. And that to me is a fuck you, Uncle Sam." Henson continued, "Off the top, Uncle Sam gets 50%. Now that's $5 million. Your team is getting 30% of what you gross, not after what Uncle Sam took. Now you do the math. I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break a glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I am at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired," she said, crying. Turning to her Color Purple co-star, Danielle Brooks, Henson said that the issue extends to younger generations too. "If I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the fuck am I doing?" Henson said, continuing to cry, wiping tears from her face. 20 plus years in the game, and I hear the same thing, and I see what you do for another production, and when it's time for us to go to bat, you don't have any money," she said. "They play in your face, and I'm just supposed to smile and grin and bear and just keep going. Enough is enough. This industry, if you let it, it'll steal your soul," she said. "But I refuse to let that happen." Man. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Taraji P. Henson is sick of it. She's tired of y'all playing with her money. She's loaded up the clips and she coming for what she's owed. She gonna get every dollar that she's owed. And I agree. The reason that I put this in my episode for today was because this is something that I have talked to the beautiful and amazing Anita about, my girlfriend. This is something that I've talked to her about a lot recently. And one of the things that I don't understand about Hollywood and about black entertainers and about black celebrities who appear to be successful, right? I don't understand why they continue to ride the entertainment industry's coattails. I don't understand why black entertainers don't work together to create their own brands and networks. Why is it that Tyler Perry is the only one that has his studios in Hollywood? Why? 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 Why doesn't Beyonce and Jay-Z and Diddy right now is in some hot water, but why don't they have a studio? Why doesn't Denzel Washington have his own studio? We have too many black talented individuals. You put 100,000 up, right? Denzel puts 100,000 up. Taraji puts 100,000 up. Name two more black artists in this industry. 100,000. You take $500,000 and you go to a bank and you say, "Hey, I need capital to open a studio." Who's gonna say no? What bank is going to turn down a $500,000 net deposit to gain access to capital to open your own studio? So I don't understand why our black celebrities are always begging at the foot of Hollywood or whatever industry they're in, whether it's music or whether it's entertainment, television, movies. You know, back 5 or 6 years ago, Monique was crying because Dave Chappelle and all these big guys were getting millions of dollars, but she was only getting a few crumbs for her Netflix special. And I don't understand why we keep voicing our opinion for equal parts, but it's like this. If you have a brand, if you have a name, if you have a face that you can cash in on, that you can walk into a building and get a back end, right? Monique could walk into any comedy building and get a quick 10K. I would assume. I don't know what her booking fee number is, but Denzel Washington could walk into any room and hold a session on acting and pick up 10K on the back end just real quick. Boom. You do 5 of those, you got 50K in your pocket right there, and you didn't even have to do a movie. You do 10 of those, you got 100K in your pocket. You didn't even have to do a movie. And I guess what I'm trying to say is we got to start relying on ourselves as black entertainers. We got to start picking ourselves up. Once you get to that door, once you get in that room where you are a high profile celebrity, where you're on the red carpet, where people are asking you about what you're doing, why are we not shining light on our own businesses? Why don't we have more businesses? Why doesn't Taraji P. Henson have something of greatness, of value outside of her movie productions, outside of her movie deals for acting? I will never put all of my peas in a pod for as far as how I make my money. I'll never do that. You hand me a $50,000 check, a $75,000 check, I'll turn that into $200,000 in a year in one industry, and then I'll move to the next industry, whether that's transportation or whether that's real estate or whether that's entertainment or a grocery store or a corner store or I don't care what it is. Basically, what I'm saying is we cannot rely on one source of income as black people, and we do that everywhere. I was just talking to my boy the other day about he was talking about how, like, you know, he loves where he's at in his company. He works for an amazing company and he wants to move up in that company, and that company isn't recognizing him. And I told him, I said, "Hey, why don't you just apply for other positions in other companies?" And he was saying, you know, that's an idea. He might do it, but you know, he was kind of a little fearful about doing that because he didn't want to stir the pot. He didn't want other companies calling in to ask about him, because what that would look like is that he's unloyal, or that he's not willing to stay with the company, or that, you know, they might look at it as like, "Oh, you're trying to jump ship." And I told him, man, your white counterpart does that every single day. Every single day, your white counterpart is applying to various positions in other companies, trying to get the next highest dollar. They have no loyalty to the bag or the company that they are working at right now past the check they get every week or 2 weeks. It could be up today and it could be down tomorrow, and they don't care one way or another. They're going to cash out on their check and they're going to go do an interview somewhere else and try to get more money. And why don't we do that as black people? Whatever you get, she's like she said, you get a check for $10 million. Uncle Sam takes 50%. Your crew and your people who help you do what you do take 30%, and then you're left with 20%. So you left with $2 million, right? That's what you do the math on what Taraji P Henson was saying. If you get a $10 million check, Uncle Sam takes half. You're left with about $2 million after everybody divvies up their cuts out of what they're gonna get from that $10 million. My problem is you take that $2 million and you mean to tell me you can't invest it in other industries to grow your own money so that you're not having to take the crumbs that these production companies are only offering you. You shouldn't have to, right? If I am in the position with my own bag and I take that bag and double it somewhere else or triple it somewhere else, when it's time for me to do something in the industry that gave me that bag again, you best believe I walk away from any dollar amount that's not what I've already made off of the money you gave me. So if you gave me 1.5 and I took that money and I flipped it into 4.6, I need 5 on the next deal. I need 5 million easy on the next deal. I'm not walking in here taking another 1.6. You can kiss my ass on that. Kiss it. I'm not taking no $1.4 million the next time around. If I have used my money how I'm supposed to use it, if I have put it into places where it's supposed to double and triple, then when the next movie comes around, yeah, I'm walking away from that. I don't need that. I'm good. I'll keep making money where I'm making money. And when y'all finally realize that I'm talent worthy and I have good talent, then we'll talk again. But y'all not gonna keep playing y'all not gonna keep playing with my money like I'm not that guy or I'm not that girl. So these black actors have to come together. They got to come together. These black people in entertainment, they got to come together. I don't understand why we can't do that. I got to get in the room, man. I got to get in the room because if you put me in one of them entertainment rooms, I'm going to disrupt all of it. I'm telling you right now, when I get in those rooms, I'm disrupting it. We're going to move right along. I've spoken my piece on that. So it's time for sports. We're going to talk about Florida State. Florida State wants to leave the ACC. They sued the ACC over the grant of rights. In the lawsuit, Florida State estimates it would cost $572 million to leave the ACC without a legal victory or settlement. It would have to forfeit $429 million in media rights through 2036 when the ACC contract with ESPN expires, $13 million in unreimbursed broadcast fees, and an exit fee of $130 million, which is basically 3 times the league's total operating budget. The grant of rights, which if you don't know, is a legal document signed by each current member of the ACC that transfers ownership of media rights from the school to the conference. With what this means is that the ACC, not Florida State or any other member school, owns the rights to the broadcast of games. Schools signed this in 2013 as a reaction to the departure of Maryland to the Big Ten, under the rationale that the grant of rights acts as an insurance policy that would prevent anyone from leaving the league during the duration of the agreement, which in this case is through 2036, because a school without TV revenue would have little value to any other conference or enough revenue to stand as an independent. Florida State wants out, basically. Florida State wants out. And the biggest reason why Florida State wants out right now is because they're pissed because they were left out of the college football championship series. They did not get into the college football championship series, and for the first time in history, they were an undefeated team, and that's the first time that wasn't their first time being undefeated, but it was the first time that an undefeated team was left out of the college football championship. Alabama got in, Michigan got in. Who else got in? Let's see. So I should have did this before, but I didn't. It's okay. It's my first episode. Y'all gonna let me live, right? Yeah, I know you are. But let's see. Alabama got in, Michigan got in, Washington got in, and Texas got in. Florida State was the 5th school. They were left out. And they are upset because they feel like they should have been in the college football playoffs because they were an undefeated team. And they believe that one of the reasons they were left off was because the ACC is a weak conference, which is BS. The ACC was not a weak conference this year. The ACC had 11 bowl eligible teams out of the 15 teams that played in the ACC. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I did not know that. I did not know that the ACC was that good. I had no clue that the ACC had 11 bowl eligible teams. The SEC, which most people consider to be a stronger conference in football than the ACC, has 14 teams and only 8 of their teams made it. So just over 50% of their teams, while almost 80% of the ACC teams. I say our teams because my school is the North Carolina Tar Heels, which they play in the ACC. So you'll hear me refer to the ACC as our division. But they're upset. They're hot. They feel like they should have made it. And I can't say that, I don't agree there. They should have made it. But at the same time, Florida State is without their starting quarterback, Jordan Travis. And the college football playoff committee looked at FSU and basically said, who wants to watch you play when you don't have your star athlete? I'm going to circle back around to that because that's an interesting point that they made. And there's a lot of NIL issues that play into why I think that's a dumb reason to not let them in, but it's almost a valid reason as well. But that was the college football committee's reasoning. They were just like, hey, you don't have your starting QB, your second string QB may not play. We're not about to sit here and put you up against Alabama when you barely made it out alive when you played in your championship game. So we're not going to put you in our championship game, right? And I mean there's some reasoning there that I agree with, but for Florida State to think that they're hot enough to remove themselves from the ACC and go to another conference, where are you gonna go? Where are you going to go? If you go to the SEC, Alabama's going to walk over you every single day. Georgia is going to walk over you in this Sugar Bowl that y'all got coming up here soon, right? You're not going to make it. This was your best shot. The ACC is your best shot to get to the college football playoffs. And you lost your starting QB and you struggled in your conference championship game against a weaker opponent. And now you are upset that you did not make it into the college football championships when Alabama showed why they should be there. Michigan showed why they should be there. I mean, Texas showed why they should be there. Washington showed why they should be there. All those schools played in their conference championship game and they showed out. And Florida State was the only school that played in the conference championship game and struggled. And no one wants to put that product on their main stage. That's the reason why you didn't make it. But if Florida State thinks that by going to another conference like the SEC or the Big 12 or Big 10 or Big East or wherever they think they're going to go and somehow magically become the apple of the college football world's eye, you're sadly mistaken. They're upset right now, and I get it. But the message that they are sending to the players of their team is we're sore losers. Somebody's got to pay for us not making it. When what they should do is stand on business, get ready for their game against a good Georgia team and make a statement. But they're too busy trying to pout and say, we didn't make it. Nobody cares that you didn't make it. You didn't make it. Oh, well. But to try to leave the ACC and think that that's going to somehow make this situation better, you're sadly mistaken. Mike Norvell, their head coach, is going to be gone in 2 years. So even if let's say they win and they get out of the ACC and they move somewhere else, Mike Norvell will be gone. Their head coach, Mike Norvell, will be gone. All right. There are way hotter jobs than Florida State. Florida State thinks that they are Texas. They think that they are USC. They think that they are Michigan or Michigan State or Clemson, and they're not. They haven't been a formidable powerhouse since Bobby Bowden. They had one good year under Jimbo Fisher, and in the other years it was just sailing through. They're not that good of a team. Mike Norvell will be gone. He'll probably end up going to USC or Michigan when Riley or Harbaugh, for those two schools, whenever one of them leaves. But Mike Norvell is not staying. He's not staying there. Clemson is another school that'll probably end up firing Dabo Swinney in the next couple of years. Mike Norvell will probably go there. but he's not going to stay at Florida State. That's just not going to happen. So I think that they are feeling themselves, Florida State, they're feeling themselves a little too much right now. And once the season is over, once the dust settles, once this goes to arbitration, and the whoever arbitrates it will tell Florida State, we're not going to let you out of this contract. You signed it. Stick with them until 2036, then try to get out. That's their best bet. That is their best bet. NIL, right? Remember I said that we were going to get back to Jordan Travis missing or not being able to play. So the NIL deals, which is the name, image, and likeness deals, right? These college football players, they're getting a ton of money right now. College football players get more money than some of the backups get in the NFL. I think there was a story that broke a couple of days ago that there was a starting QB in college that was getting $1.4 million, and there was a backup QB in the NFL that was getting like $400K. It's crazy, right? But here's the thing though. Right now, we have an issue in college football where college players don't want to play in their college bowl games. Jaden Daniels of LSU, Caleb Williams of South Carolina, Drake May of North Carolina, Chop Robertson of Penn State, Sam Hartman of Notre Dame, Nate Wiggins of Clemson, Johnny Wilson of Florida State have all opted out. And those are just a few names. They have all opted out of their bowl game. They're not playing. But they are all under NIL deals. And I think that NIL deals need to come with a bowl game requirement. If your team that you play on goes and wins 6 or 7 games and your team becomes bowl eligible, you should not be able to sit out of your bowl game. Because if I'm an NIL contract holder, meaning like I've signed Jaden Williams and I'm XYZ company, and Jaden Williams is not on the field for one of the biggest bowl games on national television, I have a problem with that. I'm paying you money. I need you on the field. And it's just, to me, it feels like you're quitting on your team as well. You think that you are saving yourself from injury or whatever the case may be. I don't understand it. And maybe it's a sign of the times. Maybe we're just at a situation where bowl games just don't really mean anything anymore. And if that's the case, cool. Take them jokers and throw them away, because I'm not even going to watch. I'm a North Carolina fan. Drake May isn't playing. I'm probably not going to watch that bowl game that they got against who was it? West Virginia, I believe, or App State. I'm not even going to watch that bowl game. For what? I'll watch the players that are going to play next year. I wanted to see Drake May. I didn't want to see the backup who's supposed to come in. I don't want to see him. Sam Hartman for Notre Dame, he's not playing. Caleb Williams, Southern California. These are big names in college football, and they're not playing in some of the biggest bowl games in college football. But all of them are getting amazing NIL money. And if I am an NIL person, if I am Pepsi or if I am General Electric, or if I'm any of these companies that are paying these athletes millions of dollars and you're not on the field, I need my money back. I need you to give me my money back, because you are a product of my company and you're not performing under the agreement of my contract. But right now it's a free for all. But I guarantee you, in a couple of years, you're going to start seeing contracts where these players have to play in their college football bowl games. They got to start playing in them. That's the only way we're going to get to a balanced bowl season again. Because these bowl games are horrible to watch now. Because half of the star athletes on these teams are not playing in these games. It's crazy. And that's another reason why, back to FSU, they want to leave the ACC as if the landscape for college football is not changing in a way that is going to make it impossible for FSU or Texas or Notre Dame or any of the big schools, Alabama, Washington. These players are leaving their programs at an astounding rate. Colorado, for the second year in a row, has one of the best transfer classes out. One of the best. And they're going to keep transferring players in because it's a free-for-all now. You can do that. And to keep having to keep Florida State to believe that they're going to be this dominant powerhouse for the next 10 or 12 years when NIL money is as big as it's ever been and players can transfer. If they don't like the head coach of the school, I'm out after this year. I ain't got to sit around and listen to you. I'm out. I'm gone. I'll be somewhere else. I'm a star athlete now. I ain't got to come on here. I ain't got to play with you, right? So we got to get these NIL deals together. Got to get together. All right. Moving right along. Keeping it in sports. UNC basketball, my Tar Heels. I believe that they are going to be a top 10 team at the end of the year. I also believe that they will be in the Final Four. Hot take coming in, which is not. It's not really a hot take. UNC is an amazing school. They are. What am I saying here? Like they're an amazing school. We know who UNC is. I ain't got to go over all this. But UNC has had one of the hardest schedules of the year so far, and we're only about 11 or 12 games in. They have played Villanova, Arkansas, Tennessee, UConn, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. All of those teams that they have played were in the top 12 when they played them. Villanova, Arkansas, Tennessee, UConn, Kentucky, Oklahoma. And UNC played all those teams, and they walked away with a winning record. UNC sits at 9-3 right now, and I believe that the reason I believe that they are a Final Four team is because when you play Villanova, Arkansas, Tennessee, UConn, Kentucky will be in the Sweet 16. UConn will be in the Elite 8. Villanova will be in the Final Four. Oklahoma will probably be in the Elite 8. Tennessee will probably be in the Elite 8. You just played probably most of the best teams that are available in the country, and you came out 9-3. That's a good place to be. Now they're about to go into ACC play. The ACC is not a cakewalk. On any given night, Virginia could beat you. On any given night, Clemson could beat you. Florida State could beat you. Duke is still Duke sometimes. NC State is a good school sometimes. The ACC is still a good conference. It's not the conference of the 90s. It's not the ACC of the 90s. It's not the ACC of the early 2000s. But it's still a good conference. And I believe that when they walk into the tournament, hopefully they walk into the tournament, I believe when they get there, they will be a toughened team because of their front half of the schedule. And if they have to face Villanova again, who they lost to, it was a good game, but they lost to, or they have to face Kentucky again or UConn again, who they lost to, they are going to understand the moment the next time they play them. This is a team, UNC is a team of transfers, and RJ Davis and Armando Bacot are the two leading rebounders and scorers. And the rest of that team is kind of trying to find their way around. But they have a lot of talent. And I understand why you would schedule this many powerhouses at the beginning of the season based off of this team. Because this team needs some time to gel, to get to know each other, to trust each other. They're raw right now. I see a lot of promise from them. They have a lot of foul trouble, and that will be cleaned up through ACC play. And by the time they get to the tournament, they should have worked out a lot of their kinks, which is why I believe they will be one of the best teams standing Final Four-wise when it's all said and done. I love what Hubert Davis is doing. He's got those boys running. They get out for the outlet pass. They don't stand around under the basket. They keep their feet moving. They're productive. The only problem I have with them is the fouling. They have guys on that team that foul on every single three-point play, it feels like. But I'm pretty sure that'll be cleaned up. That's my take on them. I'm not going to waste too much time. That's my team. I love them. That's my team. That's my team. Yeah. In business, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right. We're going to keep moving right along. All right. We're going to keep moving right along. I had to take a quick break right there. Phone was dying, so I had to kind of get the charger for it. Kept sending me that message. Depending on, I hope that you guys, if you love Chick-fil-A, you're going to like this news. A New York bill could force Chick-fil-A to break its long-standing policy to close on Sundays. It's going down. It's going down. New York lawmakers have introduced a bill that will require restaurants in the state highway system rest areas to operate 7 days a week. A measure apparently aimed at interfering with a policy at the fast food chain of Chick-fil-A of staying closed on Sundays. The bill introduced last week is yet another salvo in a years-long political battle involving the company whose late founder, Truett Cathy, infused its business practices with his conservative Christian values. You know, I could slice this a lot of different ways. The main way I want to slice it is this. Load it up. The New York government wants its piece of the pie on Sundays. They're tired of Chick-fil-A and all of this conservative Christian value shit. They're tired of Chick-fil-A saying we don't open on Sundays. They said, Chick-fil-A, you are $1 billion organization. You are costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars because people want their Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Open up them motherfucking doors. That's it. Chick-fil-A is being sued to open their doors because New York wants a slice of that money. They want that pie. And I don't blame them. I'm tired of Chick-fil-A being closed on Sundays. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Some Sundays, me and my girl will be sitting somewhere like, yeah, I want to get something to eat. And she'll be like, yeah, let's go to Chick-fil-A. And I have to look at her with the sad eyes like, you know Chick-fil-A closed today. You know them boys ain't handing out no food today. And I'm sick of it. Open them damn doors up, Chick-fil-A. Let us in. We want our chicken sandwich on a Sunday. It's big business. You need to let people in. But I also brought this up because I believe that the inverse should be true about fast food. Chick-fil-A should be the only restaurant open in fast food on Sundays, and all the rest of them need to be closed. I don't know why that just played. I meant to take that off. This sound, I didn't want this sound in my podcast. I was trying to give you the gun because it's a hot take. I think that all fast food restaurants on Sundays should be closed. One more time. I think all fast food restaurants except Chick-fil-A should be closed on Sundays. That means McDonald's. That means Arby's. Arby's can stay open because don't nobody go to Arby's anyway. Don't nobody go to Arby's. When's the last time you seen an Arby's drive-through line wrapped? Never. It's never happened. Arby's, y'all can stay open. McDonald's, y'all need to close. Burger King, y'all need to close. Popeyes, y'all need to close. All of y'all on Sundays need to close. And the reason I say that is because I'm tired of seeing fast food restaurants profit and off of the big backs of people every single day. We do not need fast food every single day. There needs to be one day a week where you have to, as a family, figure out what you're going to eat. And it don't need to be McDonald's. It don't need to be Burger King. You need to be making a meal at home on Sundays. What happened to the Sunday meal? What happened to when grandma and mama would be in the kitchen whipping it up? The green beans, the sweet potatoes, the chicken, the pot roast. We need a Sunday meal on Sundays. All these restaurants should have to close. It don't make no sense. I'm sick of it. Or we could do this. If you can't serve a meal on your menu that is exactly a third of the caloric intake value that is set by who sets that whole food? Remember, it was the food pyramid back in the day. Now it's the food plate. But there's a certain amount of calories every single day that they say that you should take in. And if restaurants don't have a meal that counts for a third of that calorie intake, you can't be open. So if I can't go to your restaurant on Sunday and get the number 3, and that number 3 not be more than a third of my calorie intake for a meal for the whole day, you shouldn't be open. You shouldn't be open. We as America got the biggest backs ever. we walk around big back society and we consume everything. And it's got to stop. We got to stop eating fast food every single day. So I think Chick-fil-A should be left. I think Chick-fil-A should have to open, and we should close all the other restaurants. Everything else should be closed because I don't miss food. I don't miss fast food for one day of the week. I don't think a lot of us would miss fast food for one day of the week. I think it should be a thing. You should only be able to get fast food Monday through Saturday, and then the rest of the week they're closed. That's it. That's the end of the show. I want to say to everybody who got through this first episode with me, I appreciate your energy. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. Please stay with me. Like this show on Spotify. If you watched it on YouTube, please like and share it. It will go a long way in making sure that I can continue to make these shows. I also want to say to everyone who has a creative thought or a creative process, or they want to do something creatively, but they're not sure how to do it. It starts with just turning on the camera. It starts with writing the first line. It starts with just doing. You have everything you need. You don't need anything more. Just do it. The world needs it, and you should provide it. Thank you to my friends and family who stick with me. If you're in my corner, I love you. If we haven't spoken in a while, hit me up, text me, call me. I'm here. I'll try to do the same. And that's it. We'll see you again. I don't know when we'll do another episode. I don't have a straight formula yet. But if you like this episode, leave a comment. If you give a 5-star and you leave a review, I will read it on the show. It doesn't matter if the review is bad or not. If you leave a 5-star, I'll read the review and you'll be featured on the show. That's it. We out of here. Till next time. Peace.